Something else that we might want to do would be to look at the temporal trends in terms of word usage in the British Library corpus. So looking at changes in word frequencies over time. I think some people may be familiar with the Google Ngrams viewer, which does something similar. So what we were interested in was creating a similar Ngram viewer for the British Library corpus. So in the example shown here, you see a comparison between the usage of the words contagion and disease from 1850 to 1890. We can highlight individual points. And then, so for example, here there are, in 1885, there are 526 volumes that contain the word disease. And then we can click on that point and it shows us all of the results from that specific year that contain that particular keyword. So again, it's an alternative way of filtering down the complete corpus to a much more manageable subset that we can deal with. Another way that we've done this, and another approach to allowing researchers to kind of identify a more niche or a subset of the complete corpus, is to use word lexicons. So when searching a large text collection like the British Library corpus, a very common task involves creating word lexicons. So these are lists of words of interest that relate to a particular task or a particular topic. So, in the examples shown here, we have a couple of words that relate to agriculture, education, and smallpox. Very often, this type of kind of lexicon or dictionary creation process is quite manual. We might start off with a small set of seed words, and then we'll try to sort of, expand that through a manual process of trial and error. We might, for these three examples, we might start to add other words that we think are relevant. There are challenges here, particularly dealing with the historical corpus, where some of the word usage is quite different from modern word usage, and there's certain words that have fallen out of use, or maybe are used in different contexts to the way we would use them now. So that presents challenges if you're doing this manually. Curatr includes functionality for working with word lexicons. You can create new lexicons, edit them, and so on. And basically what we do is we use these techniques that I mentioned, word embeddings, to reduce the effort required to create lexicons, but also while keeping the human in the loop, which is a really sort of important aspect of our work in the VICTEUR project. By taking into account the word co-occurrences in which the word embedding model is created, we can find semantically similar words and add these to our lexicon. So we start off with in this case a number of words related to education, and then we identify other words that frequently co-occur with those, and we can add those to our lexicon and expand it. Of course, the user still decides whether or not to include these, but the idea is to reduce the manual effort involved here. And then once you've created a word lexicon, you can use these to search, as we saw before. In this case, we're seeing a set of matching volumes that relate to this education lexicon. Finally, another approach that we've developed, allowing you to explore certain aspects of the corpus, is through the use of what we call semantic networks. So again, what we're doing is we're using these word embeddings to help us understand the concepts that are present in books in the British Library corpus, and we can also visualize these concepts using a visualization like the one that I show on slide here. So in this case, we have a kind of a keyword, which is church, and then that's represented by the blue circle or node. And then we have other words represented by the yellow circles or nodes, which are frequently co-located with church. And then we also see the co-locations between those words as well. It's interesting in this example that on the bottom there, you can see quite a few misspellings of the word church that have arisen due to OCR, but the semantic network reveals these, which means that, if you want to try to find texts that contain this word, but maybe the OCR errors are creating an issue, you can, this is suggesting you ways in which you could find those. And clicking any of these nodes will bring you up the search results for that particular word. We can also use the same approach for multiple keywords as well. So in this case, we have the semantic network for contagion and disease, and we can see the connections between the two different concepts, what the overlap is between the related words and so on. And we could actually do this at a much larger level as well.